Welcome back, everyone. Grab your popcorn, because today's story is packed with shocking twists, emotional moments, and secrets that change everything. Let's jump right in. I have been watching General Hospital for more decades than I sometimes care to admit, and I must tell you, my heart absolutely swells with pride when I look at what our show is accomplishing right now in this 2025 and 2026 season. Seeing the viewership numbers climb to an average of nearly 2 million and even peaking at over 2.25 million this past January feels like a massive personal victory for all of us who stayed loyal through the lean years. I remember when the critics were ready to bury daytime television altogether, writing off our beloved soap operas as a relic of the past. Yet, here I am, sitting in my living room, feeling a profound sense of vindication because the ratings simply do not lie. The show is experiencing a phenomenal renaissance, proving that when you respect the audience and deliver stories with genuine emotional weight, the viewers will not only stay, but they will multiply. Does it not feel incredibly validating to know that our unwavering dedication to Port Charles is finally being mirrored by a growing audience across the country? I still vividly recall the sheer panic I felt last November during that frustrating 2-week carriage dispute between Disney and YouTube TV, a disruption that genuinely worried me. In this modern television landscape, a sudden blackout like that can completely shatter a show's momentum, and I honestly feared that casual viewers might just walk away and never return to Port Charles. It is a testament to the absolute emotional grip this show has on us that instead of fading away, the audience came roaring back, reclaiming over 130,000 viewers in just a single week after the dispute ended. That kind of fierce loyalty makes me emotional because it proves that General Hospital is not just background noise for people, it is a vital, irreplaceable part of our daily routines. I evaluate that survival as a clear sign of the show's indestructible foundation, built on decades of deeply rooted character connections. It makes me wonder if the network executives finally realize just how fiercely protective we are of our daily escape into this fictional, yet incredibly real feeling world. What truly fascinates me right now is how the writers have magically managed to capture lightning in a bottle again by perfectly blending classic, high-stakes criminal intrigue with profoundly, deeply emotional legacy storytelling. I sit back and watch these episodes, and I am struck by how much it feels like the golden eras of the late 80s and 90s, yet entirely fresh for today. It is my firm opinion that the secret ingredient to this current success is their refusal to talk down to us. They are rewarding our long-term memories while still delivering shocking twists that leave me gasping at my television screen. The emotional resonance of seeing generational trauma and triumph play out against a backdrop of mob violence and corporate espionage is something no other show does quite as well. I genuinely believe that if they maintain this delicate balance, General Hospital will not just survive the rest of the decade, but it will utterly dominate it. Are you also feeling that familiar, thrilling rush of anticipation every day at 2 o'clock, just waiting to see how these intricate puzzles will finally come together? I cannot talk about the soul of Port Charles without expressing my deep, enduring admiration for Maurice Benard and the incredible gravity he continues to bring to Sonny Corinthos. For a man like me, watching Sonny navigate his incredibly complex life, balancing his ruthless mob instincts with his fierce, almost crippling love for his family, has been one of the great privileges of my television viewing life. I look at Sonny now, and I see the heavy toll that decades of betrayal, loss, and mental health struggles have taken on him, and Maurice plays every single ounce of that exhaustion and resilience with breathtaking authenticity. It is my personal opinion that the veteran actors are the mighty engines driving this current surge in popularity, providing a comforting, rock-solid anchor for the audience amidst all the chaos. I predict that as long as Sonny is standing at the head of the table, commanding respect and demanding loyalty, the heart of this show will remain completely invincible. Do you ever just watch his eyes during a silent scene and feel the absolute weight of the world resting on his shoulders? Speaking of complex men who keep me glued to the edge of my seat, I have been utterly captivated and deeply anxious about Valentine Cassadine's recent terrifying fall and his desperate fight for survival in that attic. There is something delightfully classic and wonderfully dramatic about a Cassadine facing impossible odds in an isolated, claustrophobic setting, bringing back all those delicious memories of the family's dark, Gothic history. I find myself evaluating Valentine's immense will to live, realizing that beneath his calculating, often ruthless exterior lies a man who simply refuses to be defeated by his own tragic destiny. This storyline is the perfect example of why I love this show. It takes a completely ridiculous, over-the-top scenario and grounds it in such raw, desperate human emotion that you cannot help but root for the supposed villain. I strongly suspect that when Valentine finally emerges from this harrowing ordeal, he will be fundamentally changed, perhaps more dangerous, or perhaps finally ready to seek genuine redemption. How long do you think he can realistically hold on before his iron will finally begins to shatter under the immense physical and psychological strain? The sheer, unadulterated joy I felt when Ethan Lovett and Lucy Coe returned to our screens is something I almost struggle to put into words. Seeing Lucy back in action brings this incredibly vibrant, chaotic, and wonderfully nostalgic energy that the canvas desperately needed, reminding me of the days when Port Charles was as much about eccentric personalities as it was about dark drama. And Ethan, with his roguish charm and adventurous spirit, perfectly channels that classic Luke Spencer energy that I have missed so dearly over the last few years. In my view, integrating these beloved legacy characters back into the main narrative is a brilliant strategic move by the writers, honoring the show's rich history while injecting a much-needed dose of classic soap opera fun. I predict that Lucy's relentless meddling and Ethan's knack for finding trouble will soon intersect in a way that turns the entire town completely upside down. Does it not bring a warm, comforting smile to your face to see these familiar, beloved troublemakers causing absolute havoc right where they belong? But nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, has shattered my heart quite like watching young Rocco Falconeri become entangled in this horrific web of violence after shooting Ross Cullum. As a father and a longtime viewer who remembers the day Rocco was born, seeing this innocent boy thrust into such a dark, traumatic situation evokes a profound sense of sorrow and empathy within me. Finn Carr is delivering a performance that is nothing short of a revelation. He captures that raw, suffocating panic and the crushing weight of a lost childhood with such maturity that it brings tears to my eyes. I completely agree with the fans who are rapidly crowning Rocco as their new favorite character, because we are watching a boy beautifully and tragically transition into a man under the most agonizing circumstances imaginable. I evaluate this storyline as one of the bravest and most emotionally devastating narrative choices the show has made in years, proving that they are not afraid to push the younger generation to their absolute emotional limits. How can a young soul possibly process the reality of pulling a trigger and taking someone down, especially when he comes from a family so deeply scarred by both law enforcement and mob violence? The suffocating guilt that is currently consuming Rocco is a masterclass in psychological storytelling, and it leaves me deeply worried about his long-term mental and emotional well-being. I watch him struggling to breathe beneath the weight of his actions, and I cannot help but think about his father, Dante, and the agonizing helplessness he must feel watching his son walk down such a dark, blood-stained path. It is my strong opinion that this trauma will fundamentally alter the trajectory of Rocco's entire life, potentially pushing him away from the light and into the very shadows that his family has fought so hard to escape. I predict we are going to see a heartbreaking rebellion, a young man lashing out at the world because he cannot figure out how to forgive himself for doing what he felt was necessary in a moment of sheer terror. The writers are handling this delicate subject with such profound respect and emotional nuance that it transcends typical soap opera tropes and becomes a genuine exploration of deep trauma. Do you think Dante's love and guidance will be enough to pull Rocco back from the brink? Or is the Falconeri boy destined to inherit the darker, more tragic aspects of his grandfather Sonny's legacy? While Rocco is battling his internal demons, my heart also aches profoundly for Trina, who is navigating a heartbreakingly complex and exhausting family dynamic that would break a lesser person. Tabyana Ali continues to absolutely astound me with her ability to convey such immense emotional depth, making me feel every single ounce of Trina's frustration, sorrow, and desperate yearning for stability. I evaluate Trina as the absolute moral compass of her generation, a young woman who constantly tries to do the right thing, even when the universe continually throws devastating roadblocks in her path. My personal emotion when watching her is one of fierce protectiveness. I just want to reach through the screen and tell her that her strength is seen, valued, and incredibly inspiring to all of us watching at home. I firmly believe that Trina's journey through this current family turmoil will ultimately forge her into one of the most powerful, resilient matriarchs this show has ever seen in the decades to come. How much more heartbreak can this beautiful, strong young woman endure before she finally decides to put her own happiness above the constant demands of her incredibly complicated family? As I reflect on all these incredibly rich, deeply layered storylines, I am struck by the masterful, delicate balance the show has achieved between honoring its legendary veterans and empowering its brilliant new generation. The older characters, the ones we have loved for decades, built the very foundation of Port Charles, providing the rich history and emotional anchor that keeps us grounded in this fictional reality. But it is this fearless, incredibly talented younger generation who are actively keeping the town dangerous, quirky, and relentlessly compelling for the future. My overriding emotion today is one of profound, heartfelt gratitude. I am so incredibly thankful that General Hospital did not just survive its difficult years, but has emerged stronger, deeper, and more emotionally resonant than ever before. I evaluate the current state of our beloved soap opera as nothing short of a golden renaissance, a beautiful testament to the enduring power of storytelling and the unwavering loyalty of fans like you and me. Let us raise a metaphorical glass to the incredible journey ahead, because if this season is any indication, the best days of Port Charles are still yet to come, and I would not miss a single second of it for the world.